I beat Super Mario RPG with an Italian grasshopper and a tempestuous chickpea. But now I've got wood. So I challenged myself to beat Super Mario RPG with only Geno. But to the rules, we must stick, which means only characters made of wood may perform any meaningful action, with the exception of the cake fight, which I'll talk about when we get there. And all other characters must have their meaty exteriors fully exposed. And finally, since Geno is already made of sturdy oak, we're not allowing any super armors in this run. I've carved the full set of rules into the discridly-do, but chop chop, let's get started. We start by naming ourselves Bort. And I know that's not a tree pun, but my chat encouraged me to branch out. The beginning of the game does not feature wood at all, just bare naked meat in the form of Italian plumber. And the meat does pretty well against Bowser. However, the Hammer Brothers have some wood on them, the sturdy oak hammers they wield. And while it was never clarified in rock, paper, scissors, wood does in fact beat meat, so Mario gets tenderized. But on the second try, meat gets lucky. So we head to the Mushroom Kingdom, recruit little chickpea, procure some dinosaur meat, and then Mario and Mallow get slashed by Mac the whittling knife. But on the second try, it's clear he's getting a little rusty. So I take him out, and below me too, we talk to a frog, and then we head to Rose Town. And our little doll shows his strength before he even turns the party, knocking Mario down in one fell blow. And we follow him into the capital of wood, Montreal. And upon starting the battle with Bowyer, our pining is finally over. Geno joins our little party of tree, and everyone else is now dead wood. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Geno did not need to be saved by Mario, because Geno's dominance, it starts right here. He effortlessly trims this dumb beach's branches, and he gets us our first star, our second star. So we make like a tree and leaf. And we head back to Rosetown, where we get Geno's first weapon, the finger cannon. I'm not sure why someone gave Gaz, a small child, a cannon, but that must be how he was able to knock out Mario. And we head to Moleville. Moleville was formerly the home of Mushroom Kingdom's finest Mexican cuisine, and it's now the destination of purple dinosaur criminals everywhere, because it's been taken over by a purple dinosaur criminal named Croco. And what a coincidence, he's the next boss we have to fight. Mario had a big problem with Croco because Croco steals your items halfway through the battle, making you unable to heal, and Geno is in a similar position. Now here's something that I didn't know about Geno. The Mega Cape, which you can buy for him in Moleville, really sucks. And of course I didn't know that because as a kid I wasn't as big a Geno fan as I am now, so of course I buy it and equip it, which is kind of a fail. And it makes the purple dinosaur refight rather difficult. His attacks after he takes your items are very powerful, and he turns Geno into mulch. But my stream chat sticks it to me, and I buy the work pants before we try again. But the work pants are actually better in every single stat, so I'm not sure why the Mega Cape even exists. But yeah, I hate wearing pants, but I do put them on. And the second try seems to be going a little bit better, but not for long. If Mallow is dead when we reach the midpoint of the fight where Croco takes items from Mallow, once he takes them, Mallow stands back up and it looks like he's alive. But he's not. He's actually still dead. And if Geno dies, you see the game over screen with Mallow still looking like he's alive, which is exactly what happens if you couldn't predict that already. And delightfully, I get to see that glitch again because I die again. And so I figure it's time to burn some frog coins. Let's stop messing around, kids. I go back to Tadpole Pond and I buy a bracer, which will increase my defense markedly for the entire battle unless an enemy dispels it. And with that extra defense, Geno's able to use his big twig energy to take out this dinosaur. And you thought the meteors left the dinosaurs extinct. It wasn't a meteor, it was wood. But a more insidious foe has taken root here, a woodpecker named Punchinello. And my success in this battle depends on my ability to block Punchinello's bombs. Oh, by the way, I've always seen Punchinello as a bird for some reason, but the commenters on my last video told me that he is actually a bomb, which makes sense. He has a little fuse coming off of his head, but to me, I don't know, that looked like a beak, and he just looks bird-shaped. I don't know. Also, why does he have wings that he hits you with? Of course, I forgot to equip my fearless spin for this battle, so Geno almost immediately gets hit with the fear status. The fear status doubles the damage you take and cuts the damage you deal by half. No bueno. But fortunately, that status wears off on its own before we hit the second phase. Granted, if he hits me with it again, I'll probably die. So it's a race to the finish. I want to do as much damage as possible before Punchinello can cast Sandstorm again, which he doesn't. And with Olympic level wooden fencing, I take down Woody the Woodpecker, who is actually a bomb. I think we covered that. So I ride a minecart, I commune with some forest nymphs, and head through Booster Pass to Booster Tower. I extend an olive branch to Bowser, another fleshy that we probably don't need. I complete Booster's minigame, and now we're on to Knife Guy and Great Guy. And this battle is petrifyingly difficult. Knife Guy uses physical attacks, Great Guy uses magical attacks, and these guys turn Geno into sawdust. I haven't been leveling Geno at all, and his strength is starting to splinter. But at level 8, Geno learns the most important spell in this run, Geno Boost. Geno Boost provides the same defense boost as a bracer, but if you get the action command, it gives you the same attack boost as an Energizer, doing double duty. I said duty. Once Geno gets Geno Boost, bracers and Energizers for that matter become completely obsolete. But again, it's learned at level 8, and our rich mahogany friend is still at level 7, so one more level to go. But the standard enemies in Booster Tower are really frickin' difficult. These Chain Chomps have a very powerful Carny-Kiss attack. It's unblockable and does a ton of damage, and this one kisses Geno into a fine pulp. And then I get stuck in a Carny-Kiss threesome with these two guys, and I die again. And I feel kind of betrayed because these guys are partially made of wood. Cannibalism is not okay. Shame on you, Super Mario RPG. But eventually I stick it to the man, make it to level 8, learn Geno Boost, and head right back to Knife Guy and Great Guy. I use Geno Boost and I go after Knife Guy first because he tends to be the more dangerous of the pair. Both clowns can run out of flower points, but Knife Guy has mostly physical attacks, so it won't really affect him. Great Guy, on the other hand, is almost completely debilitated when he's not able to cast spells. And with Geno's increased offenses, we're able to snap Knife Guy in half pretty quickly. And Great Guy is stalled out of FP already, and I soon defeat him too. But we all just jump off the roof. I guess that's how all the little seedlings are spending their time now. I don't understand the youth. Then off to Booster Hill, where we have to grab all of the plant life that Princess Peach has stored under her dress. And I'm not sure how she fits all those botanicals under there, but color me impressed. And my performance in this minigame is disappointing to say the least. But in any case, we head on to Marymore to fight the actual final boss of this game, the cake. But before that, we have to collect Peach's garments that she's dropped in the chapel. And once we've done that, we request a kiss for all of our hard work. To which Princess Peach responds, "No, I don't want no shrubs. A shrub is a bush, can't get no leaves from me." Yeah, I got a booster kiss instead. And now on to the cake. I mentioned earlier that the cake is the only fight in which we have to use a character besides Geno, and that is because of the second part of the cake fight. I did do a pretty in-depth explanation of that fight in the Mallow solo run video. I'll link that in the description-do if you want to take a listen. But here's the short version. The cake has 3 phases. The first and third phase can be completed solo by Geno, but the second phase is all about extinguishing candles. The cake has 5 candles. 1 candle goes out for each attack from any of your party members, regardless of how much damage it does, and the cake relights a candle for every turn it gets, so Geno cannot extinguish all of the candles without help. The first phase is quite easy. You just got to attack the cake, but once the candles go on in the second phase, this battle gets lit. And yes, that's a candle pun in a video about wood. The cake gets extremely powerful in the second phase of this fight. It can deal a ton of damage, or it can disable your party members with status effects like fear and sleep. I get the cake down to 2 candles with everyone still alive. Things are looking up. But then it casts Sandstorm, inflicting the fear status, and then it puts Geno to sleep. It gets down to 1 candle, and it kills Mario and Mallow, and I have no more pick-me-ups. So I let the cake burn Geno into ash, and we try again. And the second time goes worse, because I accidentally have Mario attack, meaning I have to reset the game because of my own stupidity. Meat is off limits. Okay, attempt 3. Third time's the charm, right? And in fact, the second phase of the cake fight starts out pretty well. I take out 2 candles, and on the cake's first turn, it casts Sandstorm and kills only Mallow. And that death removes his fear status, so all I gotta do is revive him and bada bing bada boom, I got fresh meat. I take 2 more candles down and it takes out only Mario. I take out another candle with Mario and I elect to have Mallow heal with a Kiro Kiro Cola. That's this game's version of a Mega Elixir. And on the next turn, the cake kills no one. I'm able to get it down to 0 candles at this point. It relights a candle, so it only has 1 left, but then on the next turn, it kills both Mario and Mallow. But the nice thing about Geno is that he is the fastest member of the party, so he's able to revive Mario, and Mario revives Mallow. And Mallow attacks the cake, taking the cake back down to 0 candles. Basically, as long as Geno and 1 other character stay alive, I get to move on to the next phase, and I will almost definitely win. The cake now physically attacks Mario, killing him. It now casts Diamond Saw, an extremely powerful attack, and I put in a prayer to the gods of RNG. Don't attack Mallow. And it doesn't. It attacks Geno, and we survive it. And now Geno and Mallow get their turns. Geno and Mallow both attack the cake, and we're on to the 3rd phase. With only a few more attacks, the cake is smushed. But Booster still eats it anyway, so there's no waste here. And now we move on to Star Hill. Star Hill is basically just a character development zone where you get a free star. And there's not a piece of lumber to be found here, so I'll spare you the wood puns. And we head on to the not at all creepy Seaside Town. All the residents here, though, seem to be as dull as driftwood. Let's go find a boat. But before that, I grab the Sia item from a frog, which is super important because it'll let me run away from any battle without contest. We move on to the seaside area. There I grab the sailor cape for Geno, I use a star to kill some starfish, and we head on into the sunken ship, which may actually be Geno's brother. And that makes me a little uncomfortable about inserting Geno's wood into it. Oh, and also, don't buy a boat. And heading through the boat, our next boss is a giant squid. And we use Geno's toothpick arms to skewer them and make them into squid kebab. Geno Boost is basically making it so that Geno doesn't have to grind to beat any boss in this game. He's an absolute monster. And our next challenge is Jonathan Jones. But before that, I fight a wooden box. It's wood on wood action, folks. Basically grinder for trees. And if I were to make that app, I'd call it Timber. And just like a typical grinder meetup, one of the 2 participants gets destroyed. It's me. I died. But next we grab the most important item of the game, the safety ring. It negates all elemental damage, negates all status effects, and negates instant death attacks, which will come in very handy later. And now I go back to fight the box again. I don't need the item it has, but it just feels wrong not to. So after I put my wood in the box, I make a hole in the box, and it dies. And the next boss is Jonathan Jones. And despite the fact that I got the safety ring, which protects against a lot of stuff, Jonathan Jones doesn't use attacks that do any of those things. But seriously, it'll be useful later. As usual, the strategy here is to use Geno Boost and then take out only 3 out of 4 of his Sharky allies. If you take out all 4, he enters a one-on-one fight with Mario, and Mario cannot be used in this run because he's meat, so that's not good. And as you might expect, Geno turns Johnny into cedar plank salmon, and we get our 5th star. But upon returning to Seaside Town, the toads there do not want cedar plank salmon. They want my star instead. How dare they? And on further inspection, we realize that they're actually Eurita birch. Birch, please. But hey, those mushrooms are not wood, so this should be easy. Wood beats mushroom, we all know that. And Geno, along with Geno Boost, turns Eurita birch into paper shavings. His elemental attacks do 0 damage because of safety ring, and with Geno Boost, all of his other attacks are not threatening. They do almost nothing to Geno. So does wood beat mushroom? Yes, that's confirmed. So we follow the tree path ahead to Land's End. The big challenge here is the ants, because unlike the acacia ant, which lives in symbiotic harmony with the acacia tree, these ants want to kill me. But fortunately, in the creepy version of Seaside Town, I managed to buy a few ice bombs. The snowy spell, which is ice elemental, was very useful when Mallow fought these ants, and the ice bombs will be similarly helpful. They take them all out in just 1 hit. And at the end of Land's End comes the Below May refight, and in the refight, he he copies your meaty characters and forces them to attack you. But again, Geno Boost turns him into a mighty maple, and he quickly dispatches Balome and his cedar saplings. I just clobber him to death with my tree trunk arms while his goons do almost nothing to Geno. By the way, as a kid, I never processed that Balome had visible eyes. I thought he just detected everything by smell, blind as a bat. But now that I look more closely, his eyes are really menacing. I'm kind of scared. That doesn't really match the tone of his voice. Okay, I'm not actually scared because Geno took him out in record time. After that, we get scammed by an old lady who tells us she has a star. We go back to Marymore to replenish our supply of Kiro Colas, and we head on to Bean Valley. There, we fight the piranha plant Smilax, and Smilax and Geno fight it out to determine who is the more superior tree. Smilax uses a ton of fire elemental spells as well as status spells, which do 0 damage and 0 status to Geno, and he wilts away real quick, and we head to the Cloud Kingdom where we pretend to be a metal statue. That's funny because we're made of wood, and we fight Birdo, also known as Kathy. And while Kathy herself is made of meat, her eggs certainly are not. I'm pretty sure they're made from some sort of calcium compound. But in any case, they have a hard shell that can cause damage even to the most seasoned of wood. And even with Geno Boost, I get overwhelmed. She can deal more than half of Geno's HP with one of her single egg attacks, and that means that I have to heal basically every single turn, which means that I can't make any progress in this battle, and I run out of healing items and I die. Our little maple tree is sapped. But fortunately, I did a great thing in Land's End. I abused a feature of this game that allows you to regenerate stars. Basically, if you use a star and then you die before you save again, you return to your prior save point and the star regenerates, but you keep all of your old EXP, so you can much more easily grind in this way. I did ask in the comments last time if that was an okay thing to exploit, and my commenters seemed to think it was okay, so I whittle myself up to level 14 and we return to Kathy. With these new levels, Geno now has 127 HP, which means Kathy has 0 attacks that do more than half of his health. And while it is a close fight, so close that I have to burn one of my Kiro Colas, I do manage to take Kathy down. But fortunately, she just retreats back inside her egg. So now we can officially say that wood beats meat, mushroom, and egg. Actually, that kind of just sounds like an omelet, and I'm hungry. Wow. And after using another star and going back to Marymore to replenish our Kiro Colas, it's time to fight these two Elms, Valentina and Deku. And we have to do this battle twice. The reason for that is that at the start of this battle, Dodo takes the center character and has a solo fight with them. That means that there are 2 different configurations that you can fight this fight in, and the only way to make sure that Geno can do everything in this game is to fight both. We start by fighting with Geno in the center spot, so Dodo takes him away for a solo fight, and Geno takes Dodo down pretty quickly. But when Geno finishes fighting Dodo, we go back to fight Valentina with our 2 other characters who are naked and afraid, and this part sucks. Because their flesh is exposed, they take a ton of damage from Valentina's attacks, and ultimately they die. So I decide to change up my strategy a little bit. I put Bowser in the party instead of Mallow, because he has the highest HP of all the other characters, and I get absolutely blessed by RNG on my second try. Valentina for some reason uses mostly physical attacks in this iteration, and a blizzard attack misses both Mario and Bowser, giving me the perfect opening to take her out. And once they do, Geno comes back into the battle, and with Geno Boost, he has no problem eviscerating these birch brains. But now I have to fight the battle again with Bowser in the middle slot. Fortunately, along with those ice bombs I mentioned earlier, I also got some fire bombs from creepy Seaside Town, and 2 of them are enough to take out Dodo. And since we already saw that Geno has no problem dealing with Valentina and Dodo together, you can bet how the next phase of the fight goes. Geno absolutely wrecks. He cuts both of them down to size, a wooden lumberjack if you will. And that brings us to the volcano, and we head straight through to the second worst enemy of all wood, fire, specifically the fire dragon. Now this battle was challenging. I hated it, mainly because of its 4 balls. You should fear anyone who has 4 balls. After it summons its balls, they all explode and do a lot of damage to Geno. But what's interesting though is that when I fought this battle with Mario, Mario's slightly slower speed gave him a big advantage. After the dragon summoned its balls, Mario got a turn before the the balls attacked. So he was able to kill all of the balls with Ultra Jump and do some damage to the dragon at the same time. But because Geno is faster than both the balls and the dragon, there is a big problem. They attack before Geno can hit them, so I die. And it's pretty obvious to me that I'm gonna have to grind a little. So I grind to level 16, and that gives me a juicy 14 HP boost. That means that I should try one more time. That's a big a boost. And I do. And this time, RN Treesus is on my side. That random chance to not summon balls, it happens a disproportionate amount in this attempt. And a bunch of them miss too. I do have a couple of close calls, but this dragon goes down pretty gosh darn quickly. But his second form, the Bone Dragon, is also a little bit challenging. But I do mess around a little bit because as the only undead boss, this guy has a special action that he takes whenever you hit him with a Pure Water. Instead of just killing him, it causes him to attack himself, which doesn't really help with the battle, but I thought it was kind of funny. So I win, I take him out. Draggy's mom is ground into dust. And now we know that wood beats meat, mushroom, egg, and bone. But now we have to fight the worst enemy of all wood, axes. Specifically, the Axum Rangers. This group of lumberjack-hating forest fire starters is the worst. They're able to slice and dice Geno within a minute. I explained this boss in depth in the Mario video, discreetly do. But briefly, the pink one heals, the green one does magic damage and is largely useless. The yellow one does physical damage, the black one can do physical damage or damage me with his bombs. Oh, and he also counters magic attacks with Spritz Bomb, which is hugely powerful. And the Red Ranger does physical damage but will power up to insane levels when two of the other Axum Rangers are defeated. So here's my initial strategy. Cast Geno Boost, duh. And then I'm gonna use my fire bombs. Even though they do fire damage, for some reason the game does not count it as magical, at least not for the purpose of counters, so the Black Ranger won't counterattack. And after the third firebomb, both the Pink and Green Ranger are down, which is actually really bad. I want the Green Ranger to be the last Ranger in the battle. Because he's so useless, I can use him to heal up before we go to the part where we have to fight the ship, which is pretty dangerous. You'll want to start that part of the battle at full health. And because he went down second, the Red Ranger now powers up. Like the Fire Dragon, he also uses his balls to attack. And his balls do more than half of Geno's HP when they're powered up. They're blockable technically, but I had a cold while I was filming this and I was totally wrecked. And so Geno gets wrecked. Yellow, black, and red chop me down. Remember how I said that the Black Ranger counters magic attacks? Well, I actually didn't know that before I started this run, but I found out. In fact, I discovered it when I tried this battle again. Because I try another strategy using Geno Blast to attack all of them to see if that does more damage. And while it does a lot, it also stimulates the Spritz Bomb counter from black, which is bad. Yeah, I died. But third time's the charm. Actually, no, it's not. But fourth time's the charm, right? Well, actually, no, I get ground up into sawdust again. But fifth time? Please tell me fifth time is the charm. You guys don't watch these videos to see me succeed. You come here to watch me suffer. But there's no point mourning wood. And here's the strategy. I use 2 fire bombs and the second one kills pink. So my next goal is to kill black. And I have an idea. If black is killed by magic, he might not counter on the turn that he dies. So I hit black with one more physical attack and then I hit him with another Geno Blast, and this time he doesn't counter. He dies instead. And when he goes down, I take a sigh of relief. The battle is far from won, but now it should be a lot easier. But red is now powered up and we have to deal with yellow along with him. But the next Geno Blast takes out yellow, and now I know I have this one in the bag. I kill red next, and with only green left, I can heal up before we fight the ship. And the ship's breaker beam doesn't do enough damage to be at all threatening. In Mushroom Kingdom, wood chop you. And that's exactly what Geno does. So yeah, the ship goes down and we get our 6th star. By the way, do the stars look like they're made of wood? No? Anyone else? No? Okay. And now we head to Smithy's castle in our Lamborghini, which you might know as a bus, which you should not purchase. Don't buy a bus. We grab Geno's ultimate weapon, the star gun, behind one of the battle doors, and we head on to Magikoopa. And gosh darn it, I keep learning new things about this game every single time I do a solo run. There is a really weird mechanic in the Magikoopa fight. During the Mallow run, I thought that I stole stalled him out of FP because he summoned Jinx 5 times, then a bomb which exploded, and then he just stopped moving altogether. But this time he summons a dragon just 1 time, then a bomb which explodes, and then he stops moving. Do you see the pattern? Once he casts the bomb and the bomb explodes, he stops. He's basically dead. I think it's some sort of glitch. I don't think it's meant to be there. I mean, maybe it's intentional. I literally have no idea. Please somebody tell me in the comments. Either way, we stick it to him and Magikoopa goes down. Which brings us to Boomer, and he really isn't worth talking about. He's pretty easy with Geno Boost and the safety ring. But now, it's time to fight Exor. Explanation: the mouth attacks, the left and right eyes protect, and the top is the part you have to hit to kill him. But you gotta kill at least one of the eyes before you attack the top or you won't do any damage. Now this battle has a little quirk that you need to know about. If you use the Geno Whirl ability, if you hit Y at the right time, it'll do 9,999 damage. And this is the only boss that works on. But to me, that seemed too easy. That trick is disabled on all other bosses, so I decided to ban that trick altogether. But fortunately, Geno has another great spell available to him that is very useful in this battle. Geno Flash. Basically similar to Geno Blast, but more powerful. It does a ton of damage to all of Exor's parts, and that makes it perfect for this battle. But unfortunately, I learned yet another new thing about a boss during this run. The mouth has the incredibly powerful Carnikiss attack, the one that killed me earlier when I was fighting against the Chain Chomps in Booster Tower. It's also unblockable. Even with Geno Boost, it does a ton of damage. And after it uses that, the Eye Garlic Ranch blasts me into oblivion. And I think I took it pretty well. No! Yeah, I'm going insane. So we fight our way through Boomer again, and I give it a second try. I do figure out a strategy for this battle, though. 2 Geno Flashes kills both of the eyes. After that, I'm free to attack the top part of Exor until both of the eyes revive. And then 2 more Geno Flashes will take out both of the eyes again, along with the mouth, meaning that Exor cannot attack at all. That's when I can really let loose. And with time and very conservative healing, I'm able to take Exor out, and then he takes me in. And after one more replenishment of my Kuro Colas and Marymore, I head on to the clock boss. And Geno Flash does enormous damage to all of this Click-Clock's parts. So much so that it's not even worth talking about this battle. It was pitifully easy. If you want a full explanation of how it works, though, that's in the Mario video. And following that, we fight Domino and Cloaker, who are similarly not very challenging. Geno's just busting right through. So I'm not going to talk about them at all. We're just going to head straight on to the Clerk, Manager, and Director. The Clerk and Manager are really easy, but the Director does give me a little bit of trouble. The problem is that his bomb attacks and his Spritz bomb attacks do a ton of damage, but it's just a waiting game. With Geno Boost, he's just not too hard, and eventually he goes down real easy, which leads us to the second to last battle in the game, the Gun Yoke battle. The Gun Yoke and its ally are both weak to sleep, so I head all the way back through Smithy's lair to Tadpole Pond where I grab a few sleepy bombs, and then I go back through Smithy's lair and fight Gun Yoke. I use a sleepy bomb to put them to sleep, and then I use Geno Boost. But again, I'm tired, so I start making mistakes. I defend when I should have attacked, and then when both the Gun Yoke and its ally wake up, I forget to use another sleepy bomb, and they wreck me. This tree got felled. But on my second try, I wake up and smell the pine trees and heal appropriately and put in my sleepy bombs at the appropriate moments, and they both go down. All that's left is Smithy. And if you've made it this far in the video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd spruce up the like button. You know, by pushing it with your mouse and subscribing to the channel. I'd also like to thank my Discord for all of the terrible jokes that I use in this video. Well, technically all the terrible jokes were mine and all the good ones were theirs. Please click the link in the description and join my server. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. And now on to Smithy. Smithy's first phase is usually pretty easy. With his machine, he summons 2 Shy Guys who can eventually run out of FP and then not do much damage at all. But for the first time in the history of these challenge runs, they kill me because I don't heal appropriately. But the other reason that I died is that Geno was only at level 18. Mallow was at level 25, and I think Mario was around level 23. The Geno Boost is that powerful, it prevented me from having to grind pretty much at all. But I do think that one more level is probably all that he needs to take out Smithy. So I fight a couple of Bowyers to gain that level, and then I realize exactly how crazy Geno's HP growth is. He literally gets 14 more HP at this level. I'm now feeling a lot lot more confidence, so I head back to Smithy. And this time, the first phase is easy treasy. The second phase, though, is legitimately a nightmare. Briefly, there's the tank form, which is weak against magical damage but can deal a lot of damage with its bullets. The magical form, which deals a lot of magical damage but is weak to physical attacks. The chest form, which does status moves and is therefore just wasting a turn every time it comes out and is also weak to fire. And the invincible form, which is weak against ice but casts Shredder, which removes my boosts. But Geno doesn't care about Shredder. He can just recast Geno Boost every time the invincible form acts. He's at a pretty big advantage compared to the other characters. And unfortunately, my first attempt at this form is short-lived. After dealing a bunch of damage, he goes into the invincible form, and I use my Ice Bomb instead of healing. Big mistake, because it immediately uses Shredder right after that, and the only choice I have after that is to Geno Boost, or else any of his other forms can kill me in 1 to 2 hits. And Smithy goes back into the tank form, and he does a ton of damage, and I die. Apparently, hammer beats wood, but I know it's possible to win, so I gotta try again. I blaze through the first phase, and he starts in the tank form, and that's a good place to start because Geno Flash does a ton of damage to the top and the bottom, and when he transitions into the invincible form, I'm able to use my Ice Bomb to do a crap ton of damage. I'm already at high HP, so I'm not in danger of having what happened last time happen again. However, in the first half of this battle, I get pretty terrible RNG, but as I go through the battle, my RNG luck gets so much better. He's pretty much almost exclusively switching between the treasure box form and the invincible form, and as the adrenaline hits because I'm getting close to the end, I start hitting my action commands better, and after a couple of very lucky treasure box transformations in which I use my fire bombs, he transitions into the invincible form, and one last Geno Flash takes him out. I have beaten Super Mario RPG with only Geno. You know, except the beginning of the battle and the cake boss. Be on the lookout for the QLEX video, which will be members only, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Like the video. Bye-bye.